I've made over $146,000 both running ads for my own business and running ads for other people's businesses. And yes, I know it's a lot of money, but it didn't start out that way. So in this video, I'm not going to share with you what worked for me 8 years ago. I'm going to share with you what's going to work for you right now. I'm going to share some of the best resources where you can both learn Google Ads, you can understand it, and you can apply it to your business. Now, I am going to make this video for both a freelancer and if you're a business owner interested in running ads. And what I'm going to do towards the end of this video is I'm also going to share with you realistically how much you can make, more or less. How much can you actually expect to make in your first few years of running Google Ads? So let's get into the video. All right, so if you are brand new and you want to run ads for people, that means you're not a business owner, you just want to do this as a freelancer, you just want a career where you do digital marketing, then I want you to watch the first part of this video. If you're a business owner and you have a product or a service that you want to sell or you want to get leads online, then what I want you to do is fast forward to the timestamp in below. It's marked for business owners. That way I don't waste anybody's time. And let's get into the freelancers first. So if you want to learn digital marketing, you're probably going to need clients. You need people that you run the ads for. Now, you can usually find these people on freelancing platforms. So for example, a business owner would come on and they'd say, hey, I need help setting up a Google ad. Or somebody might come in and say, hey, I need help managing a Google ad. And what I want to do is I want to take you through my freelance profile on Upwork, which is one of these freelancing platforms, and I want to show you exactly how much I was earning when I was using the platform. All right, so this is my Upwork profile over here. You can see I haven't been here in quite a while. And basically, you can see over here that I've earned $5,000 in total. Now, I've had 19 jobs and I've worked 99 hours. And you can see my most recent job on here was in 2023, and I was earning about $110 per hour. And this is just for doing consulting on ads. You can see here again, there's another job for $110. Here, I was actually coaching someone on Google Ads. I was teaching them how to run Google Ads. And you can see here that this was quite a sizable job. I made about $2,600. That's actually half my profile now that I think about it. But anyway, I made $2,600. And as you can see, I was getting paid about $55 per hour. Here again, Google Ads optimization, $55 per hour, consultation, $110, Google Ads specialist, $110. And as you can see, as we keep on going lower, the amounts are getting less and less as we travel back in time. Now, a good question at this stage, which you're probably wondering is, when you're getting started out, how much are you actually going to get paid? Well, let's look at one of my first jobs. So if I go all the way down, you can see, okay, so here I kind of stopped with my UX. I was doing these small little gigs. I was like doing a $15 gig, then a $6 gig, then a $20 gig. Why? Because I was basically building up my profile and trying to get reviews. And then once I started getting reviews, you could see that I was on about $25 per hour, $40 per hour. And this is a good ballpark figure to aim for. Now, if you're starting off with Google Ads, obviously you're not going to jump straight to $55 per hour. But what I recommend is that you learn the system, that you learn the software first, and then you're going to be able to command, I would say a good starting off place is about $20 to $25 per hour. Now, you should keep in mind that charging hourly is just one way to do this. You can also charge monthly. Like you can say, I'll run your ads for $1,000 a month retainer, or $2,000 per month, or $3,000 per month. Or if you have a full service agency, you can even go higher than that. Or if you're really good at Google Ads, you can go higher than that. So you can charge hourly, monthly retainer. There's a whole bunch of ways that you can structure your fees. Now, the next thing you're probably wondering is, Devon, I don't even know Google Ads, so where would I get started? Well, the first thing I want you to do is get your Google Ads certification. It's completely free. You can just go to Skillshop. I'll link it down below, but basically this is the place where anybody can get a Google certification. And what you want to do is you want to get certificates in search, in display, anything that has to do with advertising on Google Ads. Try and go after those certificates. It should take you about a week or maybe 2 weeks to knock out, nothing longer. And most of these courses are just purely theory based. All right. So that's the first thing I recommend you do. The second thing you want to do is you want to start getting real in-depth knowledge. Look, Google is only going to teach you surface level stuff. And if you have an interview with a potential client, he's going to be able to tell that you don't know what you're talking about. This is why you really have to commit. And this is why I recommend that you go and do a full-on course. And you can find these on YouTube. I highly recommend one of my friend Darren Taylor's full course. He's got a full Google Ads course and you can just go and do that. It's completely free. It's about 4 or 5 hours. And he really goes in depth about Google Ads, what it is to run Google Ads, and what it is to understand Google Ads. Now that you have the knowledge part down, you need to actually go and start getting clients. And this is the part where I find a lot of people struggle. And it's purely because when you're brand new and you have zero experience, you're going to hear no a lot. So what I recommend you do is I want you to go on Reddit. Find somebody who is struggling to set something up with Google Ads, or find somebody who has a simple problem that you know that you can solve. So for example, if you see a job like, hi, I'm struggling to sort out my conversion tracking, you don't need experience for conversion tracking. You can easily go and do a conversion tracking job. Or if you are maybe looking at Upwork and you find somebody that says, hey, I will give you $50 just to set up my Google Ads, go and take those jobs. Do not go for the jobs that say director of marketing or high-level marketer or anything with a juicy paycheck or juicy title, because that is just a job that you're going to get a flat-out no to. We want the bad jobs. Actually, when we think about it, we want the horrible jobs because we want to build up a good, successful profile and a bank of everybody that we worked with, a bank of successful clients, because that's going to enable us to charge those big fees in the future. And when I say big fees, if you do this right, you'll spend 4 months doing these small little jobs, and then you'll be in a good position where you can charge $30 an hour, $40 an hour, $50 an hour to run ads for other people. Now, with all of that being said, once you've covered all of those basics, right? And once you've developed a profile, or once you've started really working with client gigs, then I recommend you come and you check out my Google Ads community. Now, the nice thing about my Google Ads community is it's where you can basically come and you can ask me anything about any account that you're running at the moment, and I'll give you feedback live on the spot. So maybe you have a client and you find that his leads are just way too expensive and is complaining to you every day. You can come to me and say, Devon, what should I do to reduce my lead costs? We'll look at your ads together, and I'll give you useful feedback. I've got about 67 entrepreneurs in this community, and I want you to join because I created it because when I started out, I had no one to ask. So that's called the feedback circle, and it's linked down below. Is there anything I forgot to tell you? Hold on, let me just think. I made a couple of notes over here. All right, cool. So there's 3 things I want you to keep in mind. Number 1, never ever pay for your client's ads. Don't ever accept a deal where a client is going to pay you money and you're going to use that money to actually run their ads. Rather, let the clients pay for their own Google ads and use Google MCC. It's like a manager account, and it basically allows them to run their own ads. The second thing that I made a note of over here is I don't want you to undercharge for your skill. Remember, digital marketing is a very high value skill. So if you go in there and you just charge everybody $5 per hour, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get referred to people who are only willing to pay you $5 per hour, and you're going to be stuck in small budget hell. So it's better off to start off with healthy pricing, because you're going to attract more healthy customers, and you're going to be able to grow your career, and you're going to get great opportunities as well. And last but not least, always, always, always invest in yourself. Do training, do courses. We've even got a Google Ads course when you're ready to take it, and make sure that you keep on leveling up your skills. You can even do one-on-one coaching. I offer one-on-one coaching, and basically, as you get better at Google Ads and as you learn more and as you get coached more, you'll be able to command a higher price. Look, this is what I did when I started off, and you could see I was charging like $10 per job. Now my rate for consulting is $350 per hour. And I'm doing this from a third world country, so there's absolutely no excuse. Anyone can do this. You just need to do it the right way. All right, so let's talk money. How much can you realistically expect to make in your business with Google Ads? Well, this is one of my students, Gia. She was spending $6 per day and she made $5,222 back with Google Ads. This is another one of my students. This is Martine. She's a dog coach and she got fully booked out in her business with just a €6 per day budget, right? And this brings me back to the first and the biggest myth to do with Google Ads, which is a lot of people will tell you you're going to need a ton of money to run ads. Number one, I don't agree with that, because if you don't know that the ads work, why would you spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on the ads? Just doesn't make sense. What you want to do is you want to have a small test budget, and you actually just want to see if this thing can work for you, because you can't invest in something if you don't know more or less what the ROI is. Like, how much are you actually going to get back for all of this money that you're spending? So I would highly recommend you start off with a tiny budget, a small budget. Do not go out there and blow $100,000 on Google Ads and then turn around and say that Google Ads doesn't work. I take it very personally, and I want to tell you this. I started off with a $1 per day budget, and some days I would lose my dollar. Other days I would actually get a client and I'd get him for like $4 or $5. Like my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, on Thursday, I would get the client and it would be $4 spent so I could get the client. But I would never know any of this until I actually started advertising, right? So you want to make sure that you have your expectations not this high. You want to make sure, ow, that hurt. That hurt a lot. Okay. You want to make sure that you have low and less painful expectations. All right. So I'm going to give you 3 or 4 simple steps to start off with. Number 1, sell your easiest product or service when you decide to advertise. I've seen so many business owners try and advertise their most complicated service, their highest revenue service, the one that they're not selling anything of anyway, and they think that ads is going to make that work. It probably will, but it'll probably take much longer than you anticipate. So what I want you to do is imagine we're playing a video game. We want to start off with normal difficulty, right? You don't want to go just to the hardest mode. So what we want to do is you want to make sure that you sell and advertise your easiest to sell service. That means the service that's already generating you almost all your money, the stuff that you know everybody wants, and the product that you know everyone buys. Now, why am I recommending this? If you're spending so much money on ads, I'm recommending this because when you do this, you're going to see if the ads are working or not. It's much easier to advertise something that you already know sells and then say, nah, this is not working, I'm not selling more of, versus some obscure product that you've only really sold 1 or 2 of, and then try and advertise it, spend a whole bunch of money, and then be like, oh man, I think we're on to something if we just spend a little bit more. Yeah, that's called gambling, and it's not very good. So rather start off with the product that you know is going to sell and then advertise that product. The second thing that you need to decide, and this is a fairly big decision when you're starting off, is do you want to use an agency or don't you want to use an agency and just run everything by yourself? All right. So if you do want to use an agency, this is what's going to happen. They're going to make you sign a contract. The contract is usually going to be for about 3 or 4 months, and they're going to charge you typically between $5,000 to $10,000 per month, and that's excluding your ad spend. They'll also request that you give them a test budget. Test budget can be as small as $3,000 or it can be as big as $10,000. And by the way, that test budget is not your actual advertising budget. That's just what they use for experimentation to see if the ads are going to work for your business or not. So all in, you're looking at about, I don't know, if we say a $5,000 agency plus a $10,000 a month budget, you look at about $45,000 just to get started off. Now, some of the cons of an agency is you don't know whether you found a good agency or a bad agency until you actually reach the end of your contract period. So what I want to do is I want to show you a couple of signs, a couple of red flags so that you know if you have the right or the wrong agency. The first question you have to ask yourself is, are they actually showing proof of their results? And I'm even going to show you how to spot a fake, right? We're going to do that. I'm just going to switch over to my other camera and I'm going to show you how to spot a fake agency result. All right, so I've got my screen open over here, and what I am going to do is I'm just going to take you through some of my coaching student results, and I'm just using this as an example. I'm not saying that we're real and all the other Google Ads companies are fake. I just want to show you what this looks like and what to look out for. So you'll notice over here that I'm showing my clicks, I'm showing my conversion rate, and I'm also showing my conversions. Your conversions would be your leads that you're getting on your ad campaign. And notice here, I'm also putting a date range over here. You see that? So you can see that my client was running ads, and you can see this flat line where they weren't running ads and then they were running ads again. What a lot of companies do is they don't include date ranges. So you're never going to be able to know how they got those 11 leads. Was it 11 leads over 11 years? Or was it 11 leads over 11 days? So make sure that you get a screenshot and make sure you check for a date and make sure that all of these graph and these lines actually correlate. Like if it shows a red block, a yellow block, and a green block, make sure that all these 4 lines are over there. Another thing I want you to watch out for is the currencies. So if somebody says that they work with only US-based businesses and they've got this big portfolio of US-based businesses, but when you look at the currencies, you see that the currency in the account is in rupees or it's in some third world currency, then you know that you probably have a fake agency on your hands. Like for example, this one over here, you can see that we have it in dollars. And by the way, anyone can choose to run their ads in dollars. Like for example, this is a company from Kenya and he's running in dollars. But if you just look very carefully, you'll notice that most pretenders have got some sort of third world currency that they have, and there's nothing wrong with running ads, but they should not misrepresent themselves and tell you that they work with these big 6 and 7 figure businesses from the US, and meanwhile they just have it in non-US currency, because it wouldn't make sense. Why would a law firm in the US run their ad account in rupees? Doesn't make sense, right? So just think about that. All right, so let's say you want to bypass all of the agency headaches and you just want to run your own ads. You can get started off with a far lower budget. All you need is about $25 or $100 per day and you'll be absolutely fine. You can even start as low as $5 per day if you really want. But there's a couple of things that we need to understand. If you're going to run your own ads, you need to really understand how Google Ads works. You need to understand the settings. You need to understand the dashboard, and you need to understand how the bidding works, because it can impact your return on ad spend quite heavily. So what I recommend is that you invest in a course. Now, we've got a great course for business owners. It's called Profitable PPC. We've got 4 years of successful students that have come through this program. We've got results, and it's one of the best trainings for business owners out there. Now, I'm not going to speak in any technical jargon. I'm just going to show you how to get your first clients with Google Ads. And here's a hot take. Even if you decide that you don't want to do this ad stuff, you rather want an agency to run it, I still recommend that you learn Google Ads. Because here's the thing, when an agency sends you a report, you need to be able to understand how to read that report effectively to see if they're doing their job. A lot of these agencies, what they do is they give you these happy metrics to say, oh, you got 4,000 clicks on your ads. Who cares? Who cares how many clicks you got on your ads? Are you actually making money? Are you actually getting a return on your ad spend? And that's why it's important that you know the ad account, that you know the dashboard, because you're quickly going to be able to suss out whether your agency is lying to you or not. You can also start off with an agency that's doing really well, and sometimes what will happen is your results will just start declining, but the agency will still pretend like everything is fine and good. So it's a very good idea for you to learn the Google Ads interface and dashboard regardless. The last thing that I'm going to say is this is a learning journey. It's a learning process. When I started 8 years ago, I didn't know anything about Google Ads. I didn't even know what a Google ad was. And so I tried, I failed, I cried, and eventually I got to the stage where I started getting clients, where it started working out for me and it started working out for my business. And I would encourage you to adopt the same mentality. Look, it's not going to happen for you overnight, but I want you to enjoy this process. Enjoy learning digital marketing. I've got 280 videos on this channel, so you are in safe hands, but I want you to really have fun with it. I find the people that do best with Google Ads are the people that, number one, they take it seriously, but also they're the type of people who can actually laugh at themselves when they get something wrong. So be patient with yourself, give yourself some grace, and you'll be perfectly fine. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I've got another video for you. And in this video, I show you what you can get for $5, $10, and $100 per day on Google Ads. And you can check that out over here. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.